Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is John. I'm an American that's been living here in China for over 13 years, almost 14 years now. And today, I want to talk to y'all about dating in China. Now, before we get started, I just want to say this is only my own personal thoughts and opinions and the things that I've been through myself, things I've witnessed and seen. I can't speak for other people. And if I say anything that's outside of myself, it's purely like speculation. It's not like saying every single person is like that. I can't just address every single person. So I can only speak like kind of in general sense of what I've seen and experienced. And then secondly, if you like this video, like the video and subscribe, come back for more. I'd be happy to have you join me over here. So let's get started. So I wrote down some talking points that I want to talk about. I just wrote them in this little note. I'm just going to talk about some of these things from my own ideas and experiences. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is when it comes to actually meeting a Chinese girl, like so the actual pickup, the act of pickup. I'm not a pickup artist. So I'm just going to talk about some of the cultural differences when it comes to picking up a Chinese girl. So in America, I haven't been there for a long time, but when I was there, girls would always come up to me and just approach me out of the blue and say like, hey, can I get your phone number? Or you look good or something like that. They just say some random stuff to you like that. Here in China, a long time ago, 12, 13 years ago, that kind of was a thing when I was living in a bigger city. I used to live in Shenzhen. You have a lot of like they call YD Rens, like people coming there looking for job opportunities and things like that. And a lot of times they're like young girls, young guys, fresh graduates. And so a lot of those young girls would just approach me. Maybe they haven't seen many foreigners and just out of curiosity want to know what it's like to meet or to date a foreigner, to know foreigners. So a lot of times they would just come up to me and approach me that way. But for the past 7 years, I've been living in a smaller city, and that doesn't happen nearly as much as it used to, maybe occasionally, but not very much. So when it comes to picking up Chinese girl, especially from my experience within the past few years, but it's probably best to think about it like this, no matter what place you are in China, is you need to be the person, the man, who goes up and approaches the woman. Don't sit back and wait for the girl to approach you, because first of all, the girls who come up and approach you, most of the time, they're not high quality girls. I mean, like if they come up and say hi, it's different. But if a girl just comes up and be like, hey, I want to have sex with you, or I want your phone number, or I want your WeChat or whatever, these girls ain't worth my time. And I mean, it might happen. And if that's what you're interested in, this kind of thing, like dating, like whatever, one night stand kind of stuff, then fine. But if you're looking for something more serious, these kind of girls ain't worth wasting time on. And they're also kind of few and far between, especially in smaller cities. So you need to be the one who's going to go up and approach the girl, get the ball rolling. And when it comes to doing that, you kind of need to be more direct in terms of, like, why are you approaching this girl, right? If you just go up to a girl and say hi and talk to her, they might just think, oh, this is just a foreigner, a friendly foreigner or something like that. They just, he's happy. He's like, it's like tourist type of people, you just happy all the time, right? So when you approach a girl, you need to be more direct and tell her your intention. Like if you go up to a girl and say hi, start a conversation, and you ask for information, you basically tell her like, I'd like to know you more. I'm interested, if I can take you to dinner or something like that, and ask for the information, the contact information, so you can arrange that date. If you just go up and just be like, hey, what's up, whatever, and then just like wait for them to do something, nothing's gonna happen. You need to be the one to get the ball rolling. Tell her your intention, right? Like, I approached you because, I thought you look friendly, or you look nice. I'd like to know you. Can I get your information so I can take you out on a date, get to know you more, something like that, right? You just be more direct in your approach. Let them know your exact intention. All right. So that's going to be one of the things you need to think about when trying to meet a Chinese girl in China. Okay. So the next thing that I wrote down, apps, dating apps and websites in China. So if you're like me, like I can speak Chinese like on a basic, conversational level. I can conversate with Chinese people about anything, but I can't read and write very well, only a little bit. So I use the dating apps in China that are more geared towards foreigners. Like they have multiple languages. Like you can use English, you can use Chinese, you can use any language you want. And there are a lot of Chinese people on these apps. There's a few that have a lot on there. And overall, my experience with these dating apps has not been good. All right. First of all, on these dating apps, there's like one in particular called what's it called? It's called Tan Tan. I don't know the Chinese name of this one, but it has like an English and Chinese version, and it's a lot of Chinese girls on there, and like actually like kind of like in your area type of thing. Like no matter where you're at, you'll have it's like mostly Chinese girls, and so many fake accounts on this thing and fake pictures and stuff. Like I've never had any luck with these apps. I've met a few girls from that dating app, and I've never met a girl on there that looks anything at all like the picture she posted. Like they might have like 10 pictures and they all look like just brilliant, like Photoshop and all this stuff, and then you show up to meet the girl and it's like look like two different people. And then I've had girls like, well, I've told a girl like, this doesn't look like you, like this is you. It's like, it doesn't even look nothing like you. It looks like a totally different person. Like, oh, you're only interested in looks. I'm like, no, I'm not interested in looks. I'm interested in honesty. And you said you look like this. In real life, you don't look nothing like this. It looks like a totally different person. You're not being very honest with me. And so I'm, from the start, you know, like, it's a killer for me. It's honesty. Like, you're not gonna be honest about that stuff, then I ain't wasting my time, right? But you have a lot of this. These girls just put like some crazy pictures up there, look nothing like themselves. And also, I've met a lot of weirdos. I wouldn't say a lot, but a few. I haven't met many people off dating apps, just a couple. But the ones I've met, they didn't look anything like their picture, or they were complete weirdos, like socially awkward and just really weird. And it's not worth the time. So when it comes to meeting and dating a Chinese girl, in my opinion, it's better to see them face to face and do it the old school traditional way. Approach the girl, say hi to her. You see what you're getting. You get to know immediately if this girl is, you know, kind and friendly. Is she a weirdo? You get to know all these things immediately from the get-go, what type of person you're dealing with, as opposed to dealing with these apps and fake pictures, fake profiles, so many fake profiles. Some people might like you. You say hi, the next thing you know, they're like, oh, some crypto scam, or they'll say, oh, I ride my bicycle and I hurt my leg just now. They'll send you like a picture of like they cut the arm or something. Like, oh, I had a bicycle accident. I need some money. I gotta go to the hospital. I don't have any money. Like these kind of stupid scams. I see it all the time. Don't waste your time with these dating apps. Do it face to face. Okay. The next one will be like traditional dating culture, I guess what you would call it. So in my experience, like myself, I'm like 40 years old now. I was kind of raised a little bit more traditionally also. I spent most of my time with my grandmother, which kind of raised me. So I tend to look at things a little bit traditional anyway. So for me, like when I date people, like in China, a lot of times the girl will want you to meet her somewhere on the first date. But I've had girls ask me to come pick them up. And because I have a car, I would go pick them up, take them to the date, send them back home. And then other times I've had girls ask me to meet them at a specific place, and I would show up to meet them. We have the date, and then we will leave separately. Like they go their own way, I go my own way. I've had it this way too. But when it comes to dating, usually on the first date, I think it's kind of expected for the man to be the one to pay for the date, or pay for part of the date. Like if you're doing several activities, a lot of times the girl will offer to pay. In my own experience, like if I went to have dinner with a girl and I pay for the dinner, and then after the dinner, maybe like you go for a walk and you have a chat or something, and if they want to have like some kind of, you know, have these tea shops and stuff everywhere, they want to have like milk tea or some kind of like that, fruit tea and stuff. A lot of times the girl will be like, oh, how about we get some tea or get some milk tea or something. And most of the time the girl will even offer to pay for it. She'll be like, oh, okay, I'll treat you, you know, pay for dinner, I'll treat you for this. So in my experience, most of the time it's been like, I would say a fair balance in the way this works out. And when I've dated girls, like one girl, like on multiple occasions, like say if I ask her to go to dinner, I date with her, take her to dinner or something like that, go to eat. And then the girl might be like, okay, let's have dinner next weekend. And then we go to dinner, and almost every single time this has ever happened to me, the girl's like, oh, I'll pay this time. You pay last time, I'll pay this time. So a lot of times they'll offer, even if you're like, no, it's okay, I'll pay for it. You paid anyway, you don't have to. But a lot of times the girls will offer to do this kind of things for you. And I believe it's just out of fairness. Like they just kind of think that, okay, he paid for me last time, I'll pay this time. Like it's always been my experience. I've never had a girl just be like, oh, just blatantly just like refuse or not even try to, not even offer to pay. They usually like, well, at least even offer. So, from my experience in that aspect, it's been quite fair and pleasant. I haven't met like any girls that just kind of like, how would you say, just like expecting so much or some type of gold digger girl, something like that. I haven't really met that much in China. So I don't know if it's just me, if I've just been lucky, or if that's just how it is. But in my own experience, it's been pretty good in that aspect. And now another thing about traditional dating culture in China, if a girl asks you to meet with her family, like to meet her mom and dad or something like that, she's pretty serious. So my advice would be to, if you're not serious, to not do it, because this also makes the girl look bad. Like if you show up to meet this girl's parents and you're not serious about her, but she's serious about you, right? Even if she don't say she's serious about you, if she asks you to meet her family, she's thinking more seriously about you. And so if you show up to meet her family and then you end up dumping this girl, it looks bad on her, to her family. They like have this idea that she's making bad choices in her taste of men or something like that. And also you make other people of your country look bad, so don't show up and meet this girl's family and be like, oh, they ask you where you're from and you tell them you're from America and this and that, and a week later you're separate. Now they have this idea that, all American men are here to use the Chinese women and this kind of thing. So don't be that guy. Don't show up to meet the girl's family if you're not serious about the relationship, because if she asks you to do that, she's serious about the relationship and her feelings towards you. So don't do that kind of thing unless you're serious about it. And then other than that, I would say, traditionally speaking, most Chinese girls aren't gonna be interested in a one-night stand. I mean, it happens. Of course, it happens all the time. Those kind of girls are everywhere, all over the world. But a good quality girl is definitely not gonna be interested in doing that usually. So, something to consider. Red flag. If a girl wants to do that and you're serious, then she's probably not worth wasting your time on. But if you're not serious, then okay, whatever, have fun, do your thing. This is how it is in America too, so it's not really a big deal, I guess. Another thing will be communication. So when it comes to communicating with the Chinese girls, whether it be when you're trying to actually pick them up, to meet them, to get to know them or something like that, like you're trying to get the initial date, or even after you're already dating or in a relationship, it doesn't really, in my experience, it doesn't matter how good they are at English. There's some things that just don't work very well, and one of those things is usually humor. Like a lot of times, like sarcasm and humor will go over their head. They won't get it or they won't understand it. So like if you're trying to pick up a girl, what you think is funny and she might laugh, it might not be very funny, or she might not even know what the hell you're talking about, just because the sarcasm and slang and things like that that's involved in American humor, most of them aren't going to get it unless they've actually like understand American culture well enough, that they've actually been living there, or they've dated other people from America or your country before, whatever country you're from, right? So kind of avoid sarcasm and some kind of humor, things like that, unless you're really confident that this girl can know and understand what it is you're trying to make. So usually you need to be more direct and blunt in what you say. It's like if you like something, you don't keep them guessing and do all this other stuff. You tell them directly, like, I like this. Or if you don't like something, again, you don't keep them guessing. You just tell them, like, I don't like this. And that just keeps everything to go more smoothly with the interaction, whether you're trying to pick the girl up or you're already in a relationship. Just be more direct in your thoughts and what you want to convey to the girl. Okay, so direct communication is definitely needed. And then on top of that, I would suggest that you do learn some Chinese if you don't know any. Because if you're in a relationship, she's going to want you to meet her friends, maybe meet her family, and you should be able to communicate at least on a basic level, right? It's only fair that both parties can communicate with each other's friends and family and things like that. If not, I wouldn't consider the relationship myself, because I think it needs to be fair in both aspects. Like, even if the girl isn't fluent in English, she needs to be able to communicate enough to at least like have a basic conversation with my family, and vice versa, right? So, in my opinion, that's definitely a major key to a successful relationship with a Chinese person. Okay, so another thing that I have wrote down here are misconceptions. One of the misconceptions that I've heard countless times is like, people seem to think foreigners are just like sex addicts or something. Like, we're sex machines. Like, that's all that's on our mind, is we just want to have sex all the time. And that's obviously not the case. But a lot of people have this idea, this misconception. I don't understand what it is or why it is, but even, it's just not just Chinese girls, but a lot of Chinese people in general have this idea. I've been on, out with Chinese girls before on a date or something like that, or with a girlfriend before, and people even passing by, they might say some kind of bad or rude things about the girl, not to her or not to you. They might be saying it to somebody they're walking with, but you can overhear what they're saying, and they'll say some things like, oh, that girl must like sex a lot, she's with, the foreigners. Or this, they'll think like, all foreigners have like a big cock or something. This girl really loves sex because she's with the foreigners. Like, they have these weird things that they say or ideas in their head. So keep that in mind if you're on a date with a Chinese girl, that sometimes people just passing by, or random people in places, they might have these thoughts or ideas or say these kind of things, and she might overhear it and hear what they're saying, and you might not. And those kind of things can be upsetting to the girl, whoever. So you just need to keep those kind of things in mind, that when you're out, that like these kind of things can be said or can happen, or just something to be aware of. Okay. And now another thing, maybe some challenges you might face when it comes to a relationship with a Chinese girl. There's probably only one challenge that I've really faced. I would call it well, maybe it's a challenge, but it's the temperature. Really, the temperature, because I live here in Guangdong, and I've been here in Guangdong for so many years, and it's just hot here. And even in the wintertime, like in December, January sometimes, especially when I go to sleep, I still have the air conditioner on in the winter because it's not that cold. And I be hot and I sweat when I sleep or something like that. Not now, I don't have a girlfriend now, but my girlfriend before, man, that girl, she'd have on a t-shirt, a sweater, a jacket, like 2 pairs of pants, and about 10 blankets on the bed. And I'm over here just wearing like boxer shorts, and I'm sweating. And it's like, so you might have a challenge with keeping the balance of the temperature in your house. A lot of Chinese people, they don't like to use the AC after a certain time of the year or something like that, and they find it to be cold. And people be walking around in winter jackets and all this stuff, and you're wearing a t-shirt, right? So you might have this problem, like within your house. You might feel like it's extremely hot. She might think it's really cold, and you'll have a challenge with trying to balance out how the temperature of the house that you want to keep. Now, another challenge you might face, which for me, this hasn't been a challenge, but I know people that it is a challenge for, and it's going to be food. When it comes to eating. So I know some foreigners, especially British people, but some Americans too, it's like they only eat Western food. They won't eat other stuff. I know a couple of British guys, it's like it's like fish and chips, beer. And I know some American guys, every day, Coca-Cola, hamburger. They don't eat nothing else. And so when the girl wants to eat, Chinese food or something else, a lot of times the guys aren't very open to that. And this can cause serious problems, because anybody who knows anything about China is Chinese people love food, like all food. They just love it. And if you're not very open-minded about what you are willing to eat and be able to do that often, it might be a challenge for you. But for me, it's not a challenge because I love food and I'll eat anything, so I don't really care. But some people, it might be a really a challenge for you if you're not open-minded about eating different foods all the time and, you know, trying new foods, right? So that might be a big challenge for you. So overall, for me, in my opinion, I would say I've had success dating in China. When I say had success, I mean like I've met a lot of nice people, and I haven't really had any bad experiences for the most part when it comes to dating Chinese girls. I mean, I've met some weirdos and this kind of thing, and I've met some gold diggers and stuff, but that happens everywhere in the world, not just in China. So that's just kind of like a worldwide thing that you come across in the dating scene. But overall, I've had a pleasant experience. I've met a lot of nice people, friendly people, and things like that. And I definitely prefer dating with Chinese people over Americans. I can't speak for other national. Well, I guess I could, but I'm not going to speak for other nationalities because I don't have much experience with dating other nationalities. I think I've dated a Russian girl, and I've dated like Filipino girl, Mexican girl, but not enough to compare what it's like between the China and those places. I can really only compare China and America. And overall, I've had a much more pleasant experience and better quality relationships with Chinese girls than I've ever had with American girls. So that's just my 2 cents, just my opinion. If you like the video, hit the damn like button, subscribe, come back for more, and watch some more videos. See you next time.